books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. He's an internationally renowned energy healer and spiritual guide with well over a decade of experience in holistic wellness and transformation. Other than Mr. Herman Petrick.
Hello. Okay.
Welcome, Mr. Herman, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. My name's Herman Petrick. I'm an energy healer. I've been doing this work for close to 15 years now. Um, I'm somewhat new to being on podcasts. I've maybe been on a half a dozen is all, but nothing too recent. So I appreciate you having me on your show. And I'm sure we'll have a good conversation.
Definitely, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Herman. Thank you. And today let's talk about energy healer and spiritual guide. And let's begin with the personal story. What is the pivotal moments, experience, or realization that move you this from being interest into a clear calling or life path for you?
That's a great question. And that's really how it started. As I was growing up, it was never everyone wanted to be this, that, or the other. And I never said, hey, I want to be a energy healer. I didn't even know what that was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it came, later in life. It was in my early 40s. I started to just pay attention to the energies of the body a little bit. I started reading about the chakra system, from the Hinduism standpoint. I did grow up in the States in a very Christian household, so it was very, church and Bible. But later in life, I decided to look at different things, and the chakra system really opened me up. So I started reading a little bit. There's a few books that I'll mention later that really made a big difference. But it really came to me when I had moved to New Zealand, and I went into this house that apparently was full of really dark energies. It was a friend of mine's house, and it was so bad that she would wake up screaming and have nightmares, and she had several like pastors or priests come in and try to remove whatever was in the home, and apparently it didn't really work so well. And I was over there, and she told me about it and how distraught she was, and just instantly, like, a light bulb went off. It's like, I can do this. And so I didn't tell her anything about it. I just walked around the house and told, whatever it is, you're here, you need to leave, this is my space, and left it alone. And then a few weeks later, I was talking to her on the phone. I said, hey, how's your house? That was really weird. And she's like, it's really weird. Ever since you left, I haven't had any issues. And I was like, there's something to this. And so then I started studying a little bit about, you know, energies, different types of like exorcisms from the Catholic Church. I was reading all kinds of stories and just kind of the
Mm-hmm.
different religions talking about the different type of energies and how they affect people. And I just had this inner sense of knowing that I can do this and I can help some people. And really where it really turned around for me, I was probably about a few months after I did that house. I was talking to some friends in New Zealand. They were an older couple in their late 60s, and I was telling them about it, and they called me crazy. They called me a crazy Yank, in fact, and we kind of laughed. And I said, "Well, look, um, I'm sure you know someone that's having sleeping issues, because I really felt this sense that I can help people with their sleep." And they said, "Yeah, in fact, our daughter, she's 24 years old. She lives in Perth, Australia, which is, Western Australia. I was in New Zealand. That was quite a ways away." And they said that she's, ever since she was 14, for the last 10 years, she's been having nightmares every night, and she sleepwalks a few times a week, and it's just a horrible situation. She's been to several doctors. They just can't figure out why this is happening. She's only getting about 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night. And I said, "Well, let me do this. All I need to know is her first name. I don't want you to tell her that I'm doing it, because I don't want you guys to say it's a placebo effect. I just want to do it without her knowledge. and then just report back to me in the next couple of weeks on how her sleep is. And after a week and a half, a week, 2 weeks, whatever it was, I see them again, and they're like, Herman, I can't believe it. My daughter has been sleeping like 8 to 9 hours a night, no nightmares, no sleepwalking. She's a completely different person. What did you do? And I just said, I did my thing. I used my intention to connect with the person and remove whatever is there energetically. And then I asked the mother, how are you? And she said, it's funny. I know you worked on me because for the last 20 years, I've been on sleeping pills. And this is the first time in 20 years I've been able to sleep without sleeping pills. And so that was really my first, like, aha, this is a really cool thing. And so they told some local people. And then next thing I know, I had a family with a 5-year-old boy that was having nightmares ever since he was 2 years old every night. And they reached out to me, and I did the work for him, and no more nightmares, no more fear, changed his life. And so then all these parents started talking. I kept getting calls. And so then I created a website and started helping people. And it started out, really small, simple stuff. But I'm a rookie, keep in mind, because this didn't come with a training manual. It was like, it just kind of an intention, and kind of the light bulb went off, an instinct, so to speak. And so that's when I just started doing it and creating my process for it, because there wasn't a how-to book. And over the first probably 5 years, I really started learning about how I should be doing it, and my process evolved, and I started helping more and more people. And it's much bigger than, sleeping issues. It's, people that are suffering from heavy anxiety and depression, sleeping issues are issues as well. People hearing voices in spaces that are having problems, properties and homes and whatnot. And so as time went on, I just started connecting with more and more people, and the work is all remote. So I can work with anyone all over the world. And so that's what I've been doing the last roughly 15 years. And it's been quite the ride. I have thousands of stories from different people in different walks of life, but the main work I do is, the key to my work, I suppose, is helping people connect to their true authentic self, because a lot of people are, just disconnected from these, what I call energetic parasites, or these energies that attach to people and places, have this tendency to manipulate our thoughts and our emotions. And so if you really think about it, we're all guided by our thoughts and our emotions. And so if our thoughts and emotions are being manipulated, we're not being guided by our true authentic self. And so my work is really about helping people reconnect to who they are. And that's really what my work is all about. And it's been extremely rewarding, because it just feels good to help people that are struggling.
Mr. Herman, many people are skeptical of terms like energy or spiritual guidance. How do you define these concepts in a way that grounded and accessible to someone who has never had such an experience?
You're 100% right. Most people are very skeptical. In fact, when I started doing this work, I was skeptical myself. I'm like, this is insane. But if you think in terms of energy, everything is energy. We're in energy. Everything around us is energy. But in terms of what energy is, other than being everything, let's take a look at electricity. It's an energy. We can't see the electricity flowing into our house. We flip on a switch and the light comes on. That's the manifestation of that energy. So that's an energy. We can see it when the light comes on, but we can't see it flowing from wherever it's coming from to our particular house, through our meter to our light switch. And so when we can start realizing that everything around us is energy, then it kind of opens us up. And I understand there's a lot of religious beliefs, and a good portion of the population is very religious, and some are not. But every religion talks about, there's always a nemesis. There's the demonic energy in the Christian or the Western religions. There's the jinn and the Islamic or Muslim communities, and each of these religions have a nemesis that's an energetic form that causes harm. but we don't really talk about that much. We just kind of, oh yeah, that's there, but it's not really causing an effect until you have something happen to you, like a reoccurring nightmare or thoughts in your head constantly. And the reality of it is when I work with little kids, from babies to early adolescence, the parents hire me. They don't tell their child, hey, we're gonna have your energy cleared, let me know how it goes. You don't talk to your child about that. The parents come to me and say, hey, this person, my kid's having this problem. The kid knows nothing about it. I don't know the kid. I set my intent to connect with the person. Guess what? Their nightmares are gone. So the skepticism I totally get, and people are going to be skeptical on everything that you do. But to me, my truth and my life purpose is about helping people connect to their true self. And remember when I said I didn't, this wasn't like there was no how-to book. I evolved as I went, and I'm someone that likes to keep like data, like spreadsheets. So I'd keep spreadsheets and keep track of what's what and who's happening to what. And by doing that, I was able to, after about 5 to 10 years, I was able to connect a lot of dots on what's causing a lot of these problems for people. And then it just become like second nature when I'm talking to someone. And a lot of times I work with people without even ever having a conversation. I like to talk to them after the fact because then they can tell me about the results. But sometimes I give people a consultation before I do the work to explain what I'm going to do. And so because a lot of people have questions before they want to spend money on this type of work. So we have the conversation. I tell them what they can expect, but I never include them in the work. In fact, when I do my work, I don't schedule it for them. Even though they're not involved, I never tell them exactly when I'm going to do it because I want it to be more of a surprise when the work's done, because I don't want these, I call them energetic parasites, but I don't want these energetic parasites that have the ability to connect with us and manipulate our thoughts and our emotions to know that I'm doing my work, because they can simply come and go. And if I say, hey, I'm going to do this work for you this day and this time, guess what? Those nasty parasites that are attached will leave when I'm doing my work and come back at a later time. So I always do the work on my own time, and then email the person when it's done, and then schedule a follow-up call about a week later for things to settle. And 90% of the time it's very, very positive feedback. There's times where things get a little rough, but we can put our head in the sand and say there's not that much evil or darkness in the world. But I'm working with people that are dealing with groups of people that are doing like black magic, doing curses and hexes and spells, and part of the work that I do is undoing that for a lot of people. And so when you have someone that's a target from these groups, it's simply not as easy to just knock it out in one go. It's more of a process where it may take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a few months, because it's an ongoing saga. So, but yeah, there's going to be skeptics. And I just ask if anyone's interested in talking about this, that they kind of go into it with an open mind, because we internalize so much, and we don't know what the people are going through and what their belief systems are. And so where someone might be skeptical, it's because they've been hurt or they have a traumatic event that caused something. We just don't know. So, but yeah, I hope that answered your question in a roundabout way.
Indeed, Mr. Herman. So, what does the daily practice of a spiritual guide look like? How do you maintain your own energy and clarity to be service to others?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Not people ask me about that. They just assume that everything works so simply. But believe it or not, working in this field, I have to make sure that I'm always coming from my true self or my heart self, a place from the heart, because it's very it's very easy to let your ego go and think this and that, because then the ego can be hijacked. And so for me, I take time for myself every day to just sit in silence and connect to who I am. Just shut off my mind, focus on my breath. You can call it breath work or you want, but all I'm doing is just shutting things down and just connecting. And if I don't do that, I move out of my heart space and it slowly creeps back up into my ego space or into my head space. And so I always try to make sure I stay grounded and do what I need to do to maintain my own energy. And a lot of, believe it or not, a lot of people that come to me are people that are really the givers of the world, that are really here to help people. And a lot of times they're too busy helping everyone around them that they're killing themselves. It's kind of like when you fly on an airplane, they do the safety briefing and they say, when the mask drops, put on your mask before your child's mask. Well, the same thing goes in our daily life. If we're here to try to help our friends and our neighbors and our family, we really have to make sure we're sorted out ourselves or help ourselves first so that we can be in that position to help the loved ones around us. And so for me, I have to take that message to heart and make sure that I'm in a very centered space with inner balance, that I can focus and do my work. Because the minute I'm not, it possibly won't work. Or when I remove those energies, sometimes they can come to me and try to attach to me and attack me. And so it's straight up spiritual attack happens. And I've been a victim of that the early years of me doing this. So I'm working on myself on a daily basis. But I just have to be in a place where my inner balance is working and I'm centered and able to do this work. And if I'm not, if it's coming from a headspace, it's not going to work.
So, what is the most common misconception people have about what you do, and how do you gently correct or reframe it?
Well, I don't really solicit my work. So, meaning the people come to my website. Obviously, I did a lot of marketing, say through like ads. Google Ads was kind of my big marketing area. But people come to me and they email me with the issue that they're having. So I'm not in a position where I'm going out into the public and standing on a soapbox and talking about this. So the people that it resonates with them when they see my website, they contact me and they have some genuine concerns. Now, I'll get some people that will go to my website and send me abusive messages, and it's typically people that are, telling me it's from a religious fear standpoint, let's say. So people telling me I'm doing the devil's work or this or that or the other, or I'm going to burn in hell or this or that. I get those messages maybe once a year, not very often, but so there are people out there that really try to attack me. I just delete and move on. But I don't have to convince anyone because they're the ones reaching out to me. And when I talk to them personally, what I'm saying really resonates with them. And then they feel the results of the work. And a lot of times when I work on people, I work on their entire family, so their immediate family or their household. And I do that specifically because I want you to, I use the term energetic parasites. I want you to think of parasites like a flea. So let's say you have a cat or a dog, and the cat comes in the house and it has fleas. The fleas get into the house, they're on the carpet. The fleas are going to bite whoever they want. The cat brought the fleas in. So if we do a shampoo on the cat, we get rid of the fleas. We get rid of the fleas in the house, but the fleas might be on the dog or they might be on the other people. We're not getting rid of the whole thing because parasites spread. And so when I do work on a family, it's usually, a family of, say, 4 to 6. If I do it on the family, there's going to be a profound effect on a few of the family members. And some of the family members, it'll just be like status quo. And again, 90% of the time, the family I'm working on don't know that I'm doing the work for them because it's usually the mother that purchases the service. And so it's, but again, if that cat, you clear the cat of these parasites and it keeps going out to the same field and picking up the same fleas, you're going to have the same problems. It's going to keep bringing them in the house. So my work isn't a one and done, we're fixed. It's more of a connect the people so that they can start going in the direction they're meant to be going and not going back to that field. And now if you're going back to that field with the fleas, put on a flea collar. It's taking precautions and educating people on what these energies are and how they affect us.
So, Mr. Herman, as energy healer and spiritual guide, what are your short term and long term goals?
what are my short-term and long-term goals?
Yes,
My
please.
it's my short-term and my long-term goals are practically the same. When I started doing this work, I realized that this is more of a life purpose, not a job. So this is something that I'm going to be doing until the day that I die, and it comes with such ease for me that it doesn't wear me down when I'm doing the work. Somewhat of a short term, maybe a little longer term than I want is I'm currently in the middle of writing a book, or the beginning. I've only finished the first couple chapters, and the book is more about educating people on the energies of the body and the energies around us, and how those energies can affect us. And to me, that's really important work, because I'm coming from a point where I've seen so much working with people, because I work with people in the United States, Canada, um, people in the Middle East, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Hong Kong, which is in the Middle East, Australia, New Zealand, the UK. And so all the walks of life, I've been working with this people, and I can start connecting dots and seeing, the same things. And so there's a lot of info in my head that I don't recall unless it's prompted. So I'm trying to get all that out onto paper in a book, so that that information is out there for people, so that they can have a better understanding. Because I'm telling you, these energetic parasites, that they hide in the shadows, and we don't know that they're there. I mean, what the human eye can see that's around us is like 0.005% of everything. So we see such a narrow band, or a narrow frequency of what's around us. And so if I can produce a little book to help people understand how they're affected, and why that's affecting their anxiousness, or creating the depression, or causing their life to fall apart, because they got all these thoughts that are driving them in the wrong direction. So my long-term and short-term plan are just keep doing my work, because it's my life purpose. I'm sure that it'll evolve into, it'll probably advance over time as the years go on, because every year I seem to get a little bit better and better and better at it. But yeah, that's really my short term and long term are kind of the same thing.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Harman, and looking forward for more success. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah, there's been a few. Probably the most profound one is a book called Adversaries Walk Among Us. Livingston is the author, and he was. I'm not sure that he's still around. He was a out of Sedona, Arizona, a shaman of sorts that did a lot of healing, and he wrote a book talking about the specifics of the different types of energies. And that book was one of the first ones I read when I was trying to soak in as much as I can, so that I can do this work. And that book really made an impact on me. It had some really weird concepts that are like, whoa, it sounds really fake. But when you really just keep an open mind and listen to what he's saying and how he did it, it makes a lot of sense. Now, the work that I do isn't like a shaman. I mean, shamans will get similar results, but my work is completely different. And so my work isn't the same as his. The results may be the same, I would think, but that book really inspired me, and gave me some tools on what these energies are that I'm dealing with. And I choose to just call them energetic parasites, besides what everyone calls them by their specific names.
Thank you for the recommended book, Mr. Herman. And can you please give your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
The first thing we got to do, or the first thing that you need to do, is to really go deep inside and work on your connection to your true self, work on your inner balance. And then that's when you start to get clarity on who you are and what you're meant to do. So always look within. And sometimes it's really noisy when we look within, and there's people to help with that. And, people like myself that can help calm the noise when you look within. But yeah, that would be the advice I would give, is just go inside to find the answers.
Well, good luck for that. And thank you for that. Amazing advice, Mr. Herman. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in third season, and of course my book 101 review in sixth season as well, comedy 101 third season, and my food 101 in sixth season too, geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 our fifth season, science 101, sex 101 fourth season, trivia 101, law 101, mental health 101, motivation 101, entrepreneurship 101, and a book 101 review, no, bible verses 101 are my baby podcasts. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Mr. Herman, tell us, if you could have a person take away just one fundamental understanding about their own energy or spirit from this conversation, what would it be?
Just what I said previously, you got to look within and try to get past all the noise, the internal noise.
Yes, definitely. Quiet the noise. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Herman. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, or any projects that you are doing right now? Your upcoming book, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Have a look at my website, hermanpetrick.com. If you have any questions or you want to have a 15-minute consultation, no cost, you can just email me through my website, and I'm happy to do that for you and have a conversation about how I can help you connect to your true self.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Herman Petrick because if you support him, for sure, more and more energy healing and clearing will rise. So, Mr. Herman, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Monica, people, see you soon.